Putin announces total independence from Rothschild-controlled U.S. dollar. How ye rich men. I want to give all the honor, glory, and praises to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, BaHashem, RAWACHAA, QADASH. Double honors to my elders at Great Millstone, taught me this truth. Seeking honors to the elect. Peace and blessings be to all the sincere men, women, and children that do consist of the 1/3. Shalom, shalom. Let's get right into it. American dollar, the petrodollar, has been ruling for some time. Okay, dating back to when they got rid of the gold standard, and in replace, they pretty much had the world come under the guise of the petrodollar. And this really started to come about after World War II. And Henry Kissinger pretty much went to Saudi Arabia like, give us your gold and we'll give you dollars in exchange. Whenever you want your gold back, you can get it. Then when they killed the gold standard, it's like, well, we got your gold now. So now they've been saying if other countries wanted to sell their own oil, they would have to use the what? Petrodollar, right? In other words, the dollar is a fiat currency. Fiat means that it's not backed by anything unless you make people believe it's backed by something. You know, and oil is a naturally occurring commodity, right? They'll go through a process. What I'm getting at is that the whole world was being pimped, or like America like loan sharks to the world, and they saying you can't sell your own product under your own land, your own soil, unless you use our dollar. And it's been going on for years and years and years, but within the past half decade, Russia, Iran, China, and other countries, I think even India, have been dropping U.S. Treasury bonds because they can see the direction that the dollar is going. See, international news and international financial advisors and leaders of other countries, they can see the dollar is crumbling. America's crumbling, but every day on TV, or should I say on YouTube or all the other social streaming sites, it's all these damn Jerusalem dances, all these new TikTok challenges, all this toxicity with gender wars, all this alphabet group protesting, and that's all they want to do is keep you distracted and want you to chase after those lusts and things you want and desire, rather than focusing on that you're living inside of a burning house lit on fire purposely by your government. So as people dwindle and dance and parlay around this fire that's all around them, that they're going to be engulfed in, which when this economy collapse is going to be crucial, Russia's like, we don't want to be a part of that. Because you have the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. In other words, like the world exchange rates from, like, if you transfer dollars to pesos or whatever you want to call rubles or whatever, they have that. Russia, which is a part of an acronym BRICS, which consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, they are all coming together to form their own international World Bank or International Monetary System. Yeah, IMF is International Monetary Fund. Forgive me, I'm sorry. Right? And man, it's so much information going on every day. It's hard to get into it. I'm not going to keep waffling on, but let's get into this article. So I want to give you a little background on the dollar and the dominance it's had for, man, the past, you could say, century. And it's just falling. America has been the quickest country to evolve, just to devolve at the same rate, if not faster than when it came about. From the first industrial revolution period all the way up until now. But the article, reading in the green, because I've already read the blue part, which is the title, Mr. Putin said his country is finally free from the icy grip of the Rothschild banking cartel and New World Order cabal. 2 years previous, this is purple, President Putin prohibited Jacob Rothschild and his New World Order banking cabal, let that word cabal up, from operating in Russian territory under any circumstances. Hearken unto this, people. He said Jacob Rothschild, the grandfather of the International Monetary Fund or the World Banks, will be Meyer Amschel Rothschild, right? Originally they were the Bowers. The water YAHAWAH for leading me to the elders of Great Millstone, for the information I got from Elder Apostle GABAR. right? So pretty much they will be like the world bankers. And he had a quote where he says, "Give me control of a nation's money and I care not who create their laws." Lo and behold, look at America. They don't give a damn about the laws. Oh, so you mean to tell me that you want to marry this patch of grass and your neighbors think you're crazy? We're going to write a law the way you can marry your patch of grass. Long as you keep paying us these taxes, long as you keep understanding that we're just going to keep running the poor into the ground as the rich get richer and richer. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Walmart just laid off 200 of their corporate employees. Not the essential employees, the corporate employees. Wow. So 2 years previous, President Putin prohibited Jacob Rothschild and his New World Order banking cabal from operating in Russian territory under any circumstances. All right. It says Putin, this is the green, Putin has vowed to continue unburdening Russia's economy from the dangerous monopoly of the US dollar in order to guarantee Russia's sovereignty in an increasingly globalized world. Sovereignty meaning that your country is able to function on its own, despite the fact we have world trade, of course, but most of their GDP would not come from like imports, right? Like America is a major import country. No one's begging America to export pretty much anything, right? But Russia exports energy to EU states or EU nations, i.e. like Germany and France, which is why they had a problem with America putting sanctions on Russia and Germany because of the Nord Stream line. But that's another story, right? And the globalization is that they pretty much corner the entire world market with their dollar. Okay? Now before I proceed, I want to read this precept, this verse in the Bible. James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your misery that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. How are they corrupted? The way America was established, off of rape, rob, and murder. This is not just because America don't know how to budget their own money. This is really the dealing of the Lord. The Lord said he ruleth in the kingdom of men. The heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord, meaning that the mind of all these rulers of the earth are in the hands of the Lord. The deceived and the deceived and the deceiver are his. This is his game. This is chess to the Lord. He created the game and he knows all the kinks and all the all the moves of it. Right? Continuing on in the purple. Putin said that stating total independence, quote unquote, from the worldwide banking cartel and Rothschild global money providing organizations would be the, quote, biggest gift, unquote, he could provide to future generations. That reminds me of a precept in Psalms 49:11, if I'm not mistaken, where it says that inward thought is that the generation shall continue on forever. Well, I'm rooting for Putin, but guess what? You still an Edomite. You still a descendant from Esau. But I'm rooting for you though, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now, continuing on in James chapter 5 verse 3, your gold and silver is canker, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. This is a witness. Why is this money so evil, dirty, and polluted? Why is it no good? Why can't no good come of it? Understand? We'll get to that. Your gold and silver is canker, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. Right. Like the Lord said in the kingdom, our roads are going to be paved with gold. Why you think all these heathen nations hoarding all this gold? The same way that we had to lay down them Augusta bricks to make roads here in America during slavery time, you're going to do the same thing with the bullion. Yeah. But this really here is the focal point of this article I really like and enjoy the most. It's in the red. It says, quote, we used to behave naively, but now we see that the WTO, the World Trade Organization, rules are all too often broken. In other words, finding favoritism with a member of their organization compared to someone who they feel like doesn't comply because they're not willing to capitulate to whatever terms they want them to pretty much agree with. Right? Continuing. The restrictions are imposed for political reasons which they call sanctions. Now let me read that again so you get a better understanding. Quote, we used to behave naively, but now we see that the WTO, the World Trade Organization, rules are all too often broken. The restrictions are imposed for political reasons, which they call sanctions. And we've been saying this for a very long time. Sanctions are acts of war. Just because there's not bloodshed doesn't mean that it's starving out the pretty much the lower class citizens of your society, which truly is the essential citizens of your society, because we understood that during the lockdowns. We gave a damn if you had a dog grooming business. We gave a damn if you had a nail salon. They really didn't give a damn if you had a gym. They cared about the workers that worked inside your grocery stores, your convenience stores, and hell, you know people need their liquor too, right? Give strong drink that's him to perish. So you really find out who your essential workers were, huh? Got a little upset. But nonetheless, continuing on in the red, plus more and more of them are imposed to secure its favor competitive advantages, unquote, Putin said. So now they're getting away with it. They're leaving the dollar, and plenty of other countries are going to follow, which is why I opened up with James 5:1. But continuing on, James 5:1 through 4, because you got to remember, I'm sorry, not even James 5:1. It says in Habakkuk, is it Habakkuk? I think it's Habakkuk 2. It says, "Woe to him that is laden with thick clay." When you go into that word clay in the blue letter Bible, the concordance, that word there would be Abatia, if I'm not mistaken, Abatia, and it means debt. So he that is laden with thick debt, meaning that you're in deep debt. Woe means destruction unto you. And if you look at this on the screen, it says, what is the national debt? I literally checked this today, which today's date is August 5th, 2022, right? It says the national debt is the total amount of outstanding borrowing by the U.S. federal government accumulated over the nation's history. So this is from the inception, which I think goes back to 1917. Right? $30.6 trillion. Let that sink in. $30.6 trillion, people. But it gets even deeper than that. What made America rich to begin with? Slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, the selling of tobacco, cotton, sugarcane. Oh, don't forget about even people to the four winds of the earth. When the Lord said he was going to scatter us to the four winds of the earth, how would the Lord be able to scatter us to the four winds of the earth? The four cardinal directions. The transatlantic slave trade. You cannot understand this mystery unless you know the history. That's why they took the Bible out of school, people. The mystery is my story, which goes back to YAHAWASHI story. History is his story. In other words, mankind's story. Either way, it correlates because the Lord is the author of history. Notice it says in the beginning, not at the beginning, in our beginning. Because he's omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. Facts. But continuing. Transatlantic slave trade is how America became rich, which is why I opened up with James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Who's the rich? Starting with like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Bushes, the Kennedys, the DuPonts, the Oppenheimers. I mean, a lot of them really ain't got money like that anymore, but still they're renowned. I speak about the Oppenheimers, right? Oppenheimer is the individual who created the hydrogen bomb, the first test. Robert Oppenheimer, he said, I have not become the destroyer of worlds. That reminds me of Isaiah 54:16. Is it 16 or 17? The Lord said he created the waster to destroy. Wisdom and knowledge come from the Lord. He gave them the wisdom and knowledge and understanding to create the atomic bomb, which is going to be the same weaponry that the Lord is going to use on them to destroy them. The mystery of Babylon. I.e. the lake of fire. Man, it just gets deeper. But let's get back to it. That's why when we say you go into slavery, America gonna be destroyed, people just want to be naive and get short-term memory or have Alzheimer's or dementia. I forget like America was freaking inhabited for centuries. Damn, a millennium going back 722 BC before the Renaissance era. I digress. I'm getting a little excited right now. But what do you see on the screen? It says the hidden history of Wall Street slave market. There are images you can go on YouTube and type in slave auction blocks. Those auction blocks, even though they're drawn, it's a picture. There are some actual literally black and white pictures. Those auction blocks, some of them was in New York. The NYSE. Think about the word stock itself. Stock is also known as livestock. They consider us livestock. And then they use that same terminology to this very day when they talk about stocks. One stock of Apple is like, I don't know, I'm just saying in general, I don't know, $99 or something. So in other words, one slave, this young buck right here, it's worth $5 or $10. That's pretty much what they mean by per stock, per person, right? Per bond, per bondsman, bondswoman. It's the same freaking terminology they used during the slave time they're using today, people. This man is wickedly brilliant, and I do put the emphasis on wickedly, but he's still brilliant with it. Man, oh man. Think about feminism. Look at where it has gotten us today. I'm kind of waffling a little bit. Let me put this syrup down. So, New York's municipal slave market. I'm just gonna read a little bit. On Wall Street between Pearl and Water Streets, a market that auctioned enslaved people of African ancestry, we're not African, we're Israelites, was established by a common council law on November 30th, 1711. The slave market was in use until 1762. Slave owners wanting to hire out their enslaved workers, which included people of Native American ancestry. This reminds me of Jeremiah 50 and 33, where it says Judah and Ephraim was oppressed together. Okay. As day laborers also had to do so at that location. They have day laborers to this day. In 1726, the structure was renamed the Mill Market because corn, grain, and meal, crucial ingredients to the colonial diet, were also exclusively traded there. Slavery was introduced to Manhattan in 1626. I'm just gonna leave it there because you can read the rest yourself. Cause I don't want to just read this, verbatim and just bore you. But it lets you know, slavery was introduced in Manhattan in 1626. It was a law in Virginia they passed to start calling the Caucasian man, the Edomite man, a white man as a social construct. We're talking about almost 400 years ago in Manhattan, they were selling us, so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? So going back to the scripture, James 5 and 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers. I just read it, didn't I? I'm in the same book, same chapter. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanting, meaning that you've been taking whatever you saw. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. That's us. The cries of them that have reaped, our cries are going to the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. The money you kept back by fraud, all the centuries of us not being compensated, right? And then you still condemn and kill us, and we don't resist you because our people suffer from what? Stockholm Syndrome. You cannot tell me that's not talking about the so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans in America. That's why we say, how to you rich man, because the way you got your money was ill-gotten goods. Hearken unto this. Sirach, chapter 5, verse 8. Set not thine heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in a day of calamity. So Jay, you should forsake this world, man. The world was created for our sakes. This money you chasing with these oppressors' faces on it, these greenbacks, like, it don't make no sense, Jay. Like, if anything, they still worship you. When they read the Bible, they read your history. They want a part of your blessing, but you want to be a part of their blessing. Surely your turning good things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. Esau, you've done a great job, my friend. But I do have to give it up to YAHAWASHI, because the Lord gets the glory from the left and the right hand side. Stop saying the devil did this, the devil did that. Can't no one on earth or any spirit or entity do anything without the sanction of YAHAWASHI. Remember, the Lord said, I create all things, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Now run tell that. I think that's Proverbs 16 and 4. So, but that being said, these riches is they're gonna come to naught, and also they're gonna be another reason of your downfall because you illy got in this land from rape, rob, and murder. And I'm gonna close out with this precept because I've been talking long enough. But for those of you who got that money out there, man, it's not gonna save you. But if you want your consolation to be on this side, by all means, boo boo, do you? But we want the chariot. We want the crown to be put on our head by YAHAWASHI. Proverbs 11:4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. Woo! And one more. Proverbs 11:28. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch. You know what? I truly do apologize, everyone. I really do apologize. My last one, because this is the riches of the righteous. Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. That word stability in the blue letter is faith. And the strength of salvation. The fear of Yahawah is his treasure. So our treasure is in the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Bible. So with that being said, pray was edifying and fed. Stay in the spirit. Don't fear it, just endure it. Ask for forgiveness. Pray without ceasing. Stay humble. Remain diligent. YAHAWAH. Buffalo Ball. Shalom.